Good morning, students. In the last class, we have started our new chapter number 7, that is the control and coordination. In the introductory class, we have seen and studied about a lot of things related with the nervous system, that is the communication system of our body, that is the nervous system, and the endocrine system. In the last class, we have studied about the structural and functional unit of our nervous system, that is the neuron, and I have left a place there, that is a gap between the two neurons, and that gap is here today, that will be cleared, that is the synapse. But before that, in this part of the board, I have written some points, that is the points to be discussed. We should like to discuss all these points today from our control and coordination topic, like number 1, synapse, number 2, types of neurons we will discuss today, reflex action and the pathway of the reflex action, that is the reflex arc, components of nervous system, and after the completion of all this, we should learn separately about the brain and its three different parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain, with their important functions. And finally, we will today study spinal cord. Here in these sections of the lesson, this one is the part that we have completed in the last week, and after reaching this portion, we have not defined that point, that is the synapse. Today we shall study about that one. In the last class, you have seen that the structural and functional unit of nervous system and nerve tissue, that is the neuron. After deductions of a stimulus, any stimulus, it is acquired by the dendrite and a chemical reaction set off. Here the NCERT has used the word set off, that means a journey is started. That journey is the impulses, that nerve impulse. Now with the setting of the chemical reactions, the impulse has changed into the electrochemical, and that impulse now travel to the cell body, and after that it come to the end of the, here at this point, at the end of axon. This part of the neuron, where from the nerve transmitted and travel, now come to this end, and after coming here, once again there is a secretions of chemical substances before the impulse will enter into the another neuron. When what will happen at that point? There is a gap. In this gap there is a secretions. That secretion is here already mentioned. Synapses are formed between the axon terminals of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron. The transmission of impulses through synapse involves the release of some specific chemical substances, that is the neurotransmitter. It is also known as acetylcholine, the chemical substance. This is released here before the impulse transmitted to the another neuron. And after this, if there is a here the dendrites, here the dendrites, here the dendrites, but physically these two do not meet with each other, never. They will never meet with each other physically. That means there will be always a gap, and it is very surprised that even a gap is here, but the impulse will transfer to this place. And when a chemical reaction, a chemical substance secreted here, that chemical substance is now able to transmit these impulses to this dendrite and another neuron's dendrite. And when it will detected or acquired by the dendrites, again it became the electrical, converted into the electrical impulses. And just like that, there is so many neurons, and in the so many neurons it will be transferred accordingly. So this is the fact about that gap which we have left last week. Now come to the new points for today's lesson, and that is the type of, first we will study about the types of neuron. Upon the functions, depending on the functions, the neuron has classified into three types. What are these types? Very simple. You have already aware their functions, but you didn't know their names. I may like here to write that those names. Number one here, sensory neuron. This is the first neuron, sensory neuron. It is also known as afferent neuron. The type of nerve or the nerve fibers is also similar to that of the neuron, depending on the functions. The neuron which conducts impulses from receptors to the CNS, that means central nervous system. The type of neuron which conducts impulses from receptors to the CNS is known as sensory. This one is the first type of neuron on the basis of function. Now the second type is the motor neuron, or it is called efferent. Just you have changed this A to replaced by E. Efferent neuron. The type of neuron which conducts impulses or instructions from CNS to effector organs, like effectors organ, like what are the effector organs? The glands or muscles, So that is the motor neuron. And number 3, it is the interneuron or mixed neuron. The third type is the interneuron mixed. It may also called mixed neuron, association neuron or relay neuron. They connect sensory neurons to motor neurons. They are located in the CNS, that means brain or spinal cord. So this is the 3 different types of neuron on the basis of the function. Depending upon this type, all the communication functions will be followed within our nervous system. Like you may look here, just a flow diagram or chart, like your receptor. This is the first part, and how the communication takes place within the body with the help of the nervous system. This is the first part, that means the receptor. There is some places where the stimulus percept stimulus will received, and from that place now it will travel to the CNS. So that means from this there is a neuron required, that is the sensory, that conduct the nerve impulses, where it now conduct the nerve impulses to CNS. Now after CNS, when there are 2 different situations, under this different situation the decision will be taken by our brain or the central nervous system. There are some actions and their responses may be directly from the spinal cord only, but maybe that will be with the help of motor neuron, and it is the effector organs like the muscles. So this is the simple pathway of how the nerve impulses will be traveled in the body. Now come to the next part of our today's point, that is the components of nervous system. First we look about the components of nervous system. That means the component parts of nervous system and its component parts. The nervous system and its component part. The first is the central nervous system. It comprises the 2 important parts, the brain and number 2 spinal cord. The second component part of nervous system, its component parts, the second component parts of nervous system is the peripheral nervous system, PNS. You may write here CNS, you may write here PNS. It comprising the 2 different types of nerves which are arising from the brain and which arises from the spinal cord. The nerve which arises from the brain is known as the cranial nerves, and in human it is 12 pairs. and the nerve which arises from the spinal cord, that is the spinal nerves, and it is 31 pairs. So that means the peripheral nervous system consists of two important parts. The first one is the cranial nerves and the second one is the spinal nerves. And the third component part of the nervous system is the ANS, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system. Nervous system. This again divisible into the two different parts. The first one is the sympathetic nervous system and the second one is the sympathetic nervous system. Both these controls, coordinate the functions, functions associated with the visceral organs that we'll discuss later on, and this is the three important parts of the component of the nervous system. The first one is the central nervous system, the second one is the peripheral nervous system, and the third one is the autonomic nervous system. They are opposite in functions. When it will increase blood pressure, it will decrease blood pressure. Understand? There are so many functions. May I give you some examples here for this too, as because in only these two parts are essential and these two parts are only included in our syllabus for study, like the brain and its different important parts, and there is no any detailed structure of the spinal cord required, only the definition and the important functions, but its diagram, its detailed structure, that means the different parts required with the functions, and here there is no any requirement, just you know that there are cranial nerves, there are spinal nerves, and here also you know and define these two component part of the autonomic nervous system. So this is the fact about the component part of the nervous system. Here, autonomic nervous system. I have told you that we will study the central nervous system in detail, and up to that central nervous system we require some detailed structure regarding the functions and the different parts of the brain with their functions. But here in the cases of the peripheral and autonomic, we not require too much, that is only for definitions and introduction. So that's why I have written here, it controls the involuntary functions of visceral organs like heart, gut, lungs, kidneys, urinary ducts, blood vessels, gonads, genital ducts, etc. But these are antagonistic in their functions. That means what the function it will do, they will do opposite functions. Like here I have given three examples for you, like the secretion of saliva, gastric glands, pancreas, intestinal juices, all these decreases if it by the sympathetic, but it will increases by the parasympathetic. Similarly here in case of the heartbeat rate and blood pressure, it will increases by the actions of the sympathetic nervous system, but it will decreases by the actions of the parasympathetic nervous system. Similarly here trachea, windpipe and the bronchi, its dilation due to the sympathetic and its constrictions due to the parasympathetic. So this is the autonomic nervous system. Now our next part of today's lesson is the reflex action and reflex arc, the pathway of the reflex actions. Here is the definition of reflex action. In the introductory class, I also talked about these things. Any action that is performed without conscious thought in response to a stimulus is known as reflex action. It is a spontaneous involuntary action. That means that it's spontaneous, involuntary, and without any thinking and thought. If any responses from the body on application of a stimulus, that is known as the reflex action. Here a few examples. This is withdrawal of hand when pricked with a needle. जैसे सुई चुभ होने से अचानक हाथ को हटा लेना, किसी हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट को छूने, अचानक छू लेने से किस तरह से हम अपने को बचाते हैं, ये एग्जाम्पल. और फिर ये दिस इज़ द थर्ड नंबर इज़ नॉट ओनली द एग्जाम्पल, इट इज़ ऑल्सो एन एक्सपेरिमेंट ऑफ रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन. जब आप फ्रॉग के ऊपर इसका एक्सपेरिमेंट करेंगे, फ्रॉग को लेकर के कि उसमें रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन हो रहा है कि नहीं. विड्रॉवल ऑफ लेग इन ए ब्रेनलेस. ब्रेनलेस के यहाँ मतलब ये है कि वो ऐसा नहीं कि ब्रेन नहीं रहेगा, उसके ब्रेन को डीएक्टिवेट कर दिया गया है. फ्रॉग व्हेन टचेज विथ रॉड डिप्ड इन एसिड और लाइव इलेक्ट्रिक वायर. जब उसे किसी करंट वाले इलेक्ट्रिक वायर से उसके पैर को टच कराया जाए, या रॉड जो कि एसिड में डूबा हुआ है और उससे टच कराया जाए उसके पैर, तो उसको पैर उसका जो है पीछे की तरफ, बगैर ब्रेन काम उसमें नहीं कर रहा, ब्रेन इज़ नॉट वर्किंग. एट दैट सिचुएशन ऑल्सो दे कैन गिव रिस्पॉन्स, and that is the reflex action. Similarly, closing of eyes when flashed with a strong light, it is also an example. And here the example, secretion of saliva increased on sight of delicious food. अच्छे भोजन का नाम सुनते ही, देखते ही उसके ये हमारे सलीवा का ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रिलीज़ होना, इस बात का एग्जाम्पल है रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन का. देयर आर this reflex action, how that completed. Actually, involuntary actions is not only carried out by the spinal cord, it is also carried out by the brain. But here, this type of actions where there is a immediate and the answer, the responses and the decision must be, if you will take example like जब आप किसी हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट को छुए और उसका अचानक आपने हाथ हटा लिया, तो ये जो हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट को आप टच कर रहे हैं, अनकॉन्शियसली आपने उसको छू लिया है, आप ये नहीं जानते हैं कि उतना गर्म था. फ्राई जो करने वाले जो फ्राइड पैन होते हैं, उसको आपने अचानक किचन रूम में जाकर कैसे टच किया और उसके बाद हाथ को पीछे पुल किया. तो ये यहाँ पे देखिए दो बातें हैं. एक तो ये कि आप उसका एक्शन जब हो रहा, वो जब उसका रिस्पांस मिल रहा है, तो उसके रिस्पांस में और उसके टच में बहुत ही माने कम समय है. देयर इज़ ए वेरी लिटिल टाइम एंड ब्रेन इज़ नॉट effective in this time. They cannot able to show their actually brain is the thinking part, main coordinating organ of the body. In that place, if any stimulus go at that time, that stimulus perceived by the different parts of the brain. Suppose there is some specific part which has perceived that stimulus. After perception of that stimulus, now the brain will analyze the stimulus. After analysis, now the brain will interpret it. Thereafter, it will instruct the muscles to do the actions, to do the responses. So that will take much time, and that's why if the brain will think and for the actions of this type of reflex, then there will be harm to the body. उस वक्त तक आपका हाथ जल जाएगा. जब आप ये सोचें कि हाथ ये अभी जो गर्म है, गर्म चीज़ को आपने पकड़ा है, या फिर अगर किसी ने नीडल से आपका चुभोया आपके स्किन में, है ना। अब आप उस सोचेंगे कि भाई अब ये जो है अब हमको दर्द हो रहा है, आई एम फीलिंग पेन और नाउ आई एम percepting this pain, it is severe, now it will send to the brain will decide how I will respond, then that is not fair in this category of the examples. यहाँ पर ये संभव नहीं है, ये वहाँ पर पॉसिबल नहीं है। इसलिए इस तरह के एक्शंस जिसमें थिंकिंग पार्ट जो हमारा है, आवर मेन थिंकिंग पार्ट इज द ब्रेन, इंटेलिजेंस पार्ट, थिंकिंग पार्ट, थॉट पार्ट, वो सारा वो है। मैंने कहा आपको कि वहाँ पे स्टिमुलस जाएगा, नर्व इम्पल्स जाएगा, जैसे आपने देखा जाने का क्या रास्ता है, सेंसोरी न्यूरॉन लेके उसको पहुँचेगा वहाँ पहुँचने के बाद, लेकिन जो कुछ भी वहाँ पहुँचेगा ब्रेन में, लेकिन इन द बॉडी पार्ट्स देयर इज़ ए प्लेस दैट इज़ द स्पाइनल कोड. द स्पाइनल कोड इज़ द प्लेस वेयर ऑल द messages, all the impulses from all the different parts of the body, the first they meet at that place in the spinal cord. वहाँ पे ही सबको पहुँचना है सबसे पहले, and after that it will may move towards the brain, or if there is such type of stimulus, then it will may return back with instructions from the spinal cord itself. But the information after when the action is over, the information sent to the brain. ये एक इसका जनरल जो पैटर्न है इसका वर्क करने का, और ये the path way that will formed with these actions is known as the reflex arc. तो आप reflex arc को देखेंगे कि what are the different components of the reflex arc. Very simple, reflex arc. How it will form? What are the component parts of the reflex arc? The pathway of reflex action is the reflex arc. What are its component parts? It is very important. The component parts of this pathway or this reflex action, reflex arc pathway is as follows. यही जो this is the what are the component parts of the pathway, that is the mechanism of the reflex action. That means the first one is the receptor. There is a place in the body, that is the sensory organ, and the second important part is the sensory neuron, which you have seen in the type of the neuron, sensory neuron, where it will go, the message, it will go to the spinal cord, and in spinal cord there are presence of relay neuron, okay, and the fourth component part is the motor neuron, and the fifth one is the effector organ. So this is the component parts of any pathway of the reflex action, which is known as the reflex arc. This is a diagram of reflex arc. That means how during the reflex action the impulses will move to the CNS, but in CNS means only the spinal cord part, not in the brain, as because it is instructed right now from the spinal cord, and the only message after the completion of the action go to the brain. It is in the memory of brain that such type of accidents, such type of events happens with us. Here you, according to the types of neuron, you will get here the entire thing. Like the sensory neuron, what it will do? It will carry the impulses. What type of impulses? This is the receptor. Is here, which part of the body is the receptor? The skin is the palm, and their skin is the receptor. And what type of perception? That is, after touching with the hot pan, what type of perception? Maybe heat, maybe pain, and this will now go to the spinal cord here. And here there is a relay neuron, association neuron, or the mixed neuron here also, and here is the motor neuron, which can now carry the message and instructions to the muscle cells or the effector muscle in arm, that will give response, that will give take responses against this type of stimulus. This is the reflex action and its diagram. This is the reflex arc. Actually, the diagram is the pathway of the reflex action. This is the diagram. After, when the action is over, the message will go to the brain. आप जानते हैं कि कुछ भी इस तरह का अगर एक्सीडेंट इंसिडेंट होता है हम लोगों के साथ, अचानक कांटे का चुभ जाना, या फिर किसी हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट को पकड़ लिया और अचानक हम अपने हाथ को पीछे कर रहे हैं, या कोई बहुत माने रोशनी पड़ी और हमारी आंखें बंद हो गई, तो इस तरह के जो इंसिडेंट हैं, इस तरह के जो वाक़यात हैं, ये जो इंसिडेंट हैं, ये सारे जो है मेमोरी में तो रहते हैं कि हाँ हमारे साथ ऐसा हुआ। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आफ्टर द कंप्लीशन ऑफ द एक्शन द मैसेज मस्ट गो टू द ब्रेन। अंडरस्टैंड? तो दिस इज द रिफ्लेक्स आर्क एंड द डायग्राम। नाउ द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ टुडेज लेसन इज द brain and its different parts. According to our today's lesson plan, now we are in the structure of brain. Here is the diagram of the structure of brain, where you may look about the three different important parts, like the forebrain here, that contains the important part of the forebrain, that is the cerebrum and the largest part of the brain. And here you may looking for midbrain, and here there are three different parts of the hindbrain, like the pons, medulla, cerebellum. Cerebellum, pons, medulla. These are the parts of the hindbrain. Now look about the some different aspects of the brain before going into the different parts and their important functions. Brain is the uppermost part of CNS and it continues downwards as the spinal cord. It is the main coordinating organ of our body and it is the thinking part of our body. Protection, how it protected from the external injuries and shock. Here the entire brain is lodged in a bony case known as cranium, which protects it from external injuries and shocks. Further, the brain remains protected by three coverings known as meninges. What are these meninges? There are three types of meninges: the pie mater, the thin, inner, and it is vascular. The next membrane, that is the meninges, is the arachnoid. It is also thin, it is the middle part and vascular. The dura mater, it is the thick, outer and fibrous, not vascular. So this is the three important protecting membranes, which is known as the meninges of the brain, is here. And the covering meninges, between the covering meninges, the space present, and that space is filled up with a lymph-like fluid, which is known as cerebrospinal fluid, which help the brain from its external injuries and shocking and shocks. So these are the some protecting aspect of the brain. Now study about the different parts of the brain. Actually, the parts of the brain like the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain again divisible into several parts. What are those parts and what are their functions? We will study in a brief way of all those things. But here, look here, the study of brain is known as encephalology. Cephalology means brain. That's why forebrain is also called prosencephalon. Prosencephalon. And like here, the midbrain is known as the mesencephalon, and the hindbrain, which here present like the pons, cerebellum, medulla, this hindbrain part is known as rhombencephalon. So that means cephalon means here brain, and the study of brain is known as cephalology. Its weight is about 1.2 to 1.4 kg. That means maybe 1200 grams to 1400 grams. And that's cerebrospinal fluid, which I have told you that between the meninges membrane, the spaces between meningeal membranes are filled up with the lymph-like fluid, which is known as cerebrospinal fluid. And what is its function? It protects the brain from the mechanical injury function. It protects the brain from injuries and shocks. So these are the before the parts of the brain. Just these things are important, which I have mentioned here. Now come to the different parts of the brain. Now look about the different parts of the brain. In a chart, I have mentioned all those parts which are important, and now know what are this part. The first part is the forebrain, and this part is again divisible into three important parts, that olfactory lobes, cerebrum, diencephalon. Diencephalon is again divisible into two parts, thalamus and hypothalamus. Diencephalon may again divisible into two parts, thalamus or thalami or hypothalamus, MUS. Okay. Now the second important part, that is the midbrain. This part is the optic lobes and the cerebral peduncle, and hindbrain divisible into three parts, cerebellum, pons varolii and medulla oblongata. So these are the component part of the brain. Now let us come to know about the functions of all these important parts. Here the different parts of the brain. First we have to talk about the forebrain and its different parts with function. Number one part of the forebrain, olfactory lobes. It is site for sense of smell. Now the second and the largest and complicated one, it is the site for intelligence, thought, speech, memory, emotions, and there are so many works, and all are controlled by this part of the brain, which is the largest part of the brain, known as the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain and highly developed in human. The cerebrum is divided by a median fissure into two distinct hemispheres known as the left and right, the cerebral hemisphere. That means the left cerebral hemisphere and the right cerebral hemisphere. And this left and right cerebral hemisphere again divisible into four lobes, and all these 4 lobes functionally very important and important functions and important sites for the different functions related with the cerebrum. The number 1 lobe, frontal lobes, number 2 lobes, B, parietal lobe, number 3 temporal, and number 4 occipital lobe. Here is the functions of the here first we have started here from functions number 1 or 2 functions general, and thereafter we have to start the functions lobe wise. That means what is the function of frontal, what is the function of parietal, what is the function of temporal, and what is the function of occipital. Similarly, here I have written function number 1. This portion of the brain acts as controlling center of memory, intelligence, will force, thoughts. Number 2 function, it acts as a center of analysis of various sensations. Now here from function number 3 we have started the functions lobe wise. Understand? Like number 1, frontal lobes. Here is the function. Frontal lobe is responsible for personality, speech, intelligence, emotions, memory, etc. And the number 2 here, number 4, parietal lobe, that means second lobe. Parietal lobe controls the sensation of touch, pain, temperature, movement, etc. And C, that means the number 3 lobe, that means the here according to this function number 5, temporal lobe is responsible for the action of hearing and smell. Now the one more, I think it has missed one more, occipital lobe. Occipital lobe, may you write here the function of occipital lobe, a short occipital, function number 6 now. Function number 6, occipital. It is site for vision. Okay, so these are the some important functions related with the forebrain. Of the forebrain of the 2 important parts, and the diencephalon and their 2 important parts, thalamus and the hypothalamus. Let us see the functions of the diencephalon with their 2 important parts. Now the third part of the forebrain, that is the diencephalon. It again divisible into 2, thalamus and hypothalamus. What is the important function of thalamus? Here serves as a relay station for almost all the sensory functions coming to the cerebrum. B, hypothalamus. What is the function of hypothalamus? It is the junctional point for all the activities of the internal organs and emotions, like centers for hunger, thirst, fatigue, sleep, sweating, body temperature and emotions. So these are the important parts of the forebrain and their functions. Now the second important part, that is the midbrain, and it has also the 2 parts, like number 1 optic lobes and number 2 cerebral peduncle. Just in a brief way I have written here, optic lobes 4 in numbers. This control movement of head, eyes and trunk in response to visual reflexes of sight and auditory reflexes, and cerebral peduncle coordinating between the hindbrain and the forebrain. It is the part which coordinates between the hindbrain and forebrain. Now come to the last part of the brain, that is the hindbrain. It is the third important part of the brain, which is again divisible into 3 important parts. I think it is in your memory, that is in your cerebrum part. It is still persist, that chart which I have given here at in our lesson. From that chart you may aware that there are 3 important parts of the hindbrain. The first one is cerebellum, the second one is pons, and the third one is medulla oblongata. From this medulla oblongata, there is a continuation of this medulla oblongata became the from this medulla oblongata, from its continuation, there is a development of the spinal cord. So here look about the hindbrain. It has the following three parts. Cerebellum, it is the second largest part of the brain. Functions, it coordinates muscular activity of the body. It also maintains equilibrium or the balance of the body or posture of the body as during walking, jumping, lifting, catching, bending, etc. One here the balance of the body maintained by the cerebellum, and one more important organ in the body which can also maintain the balance, and that is the part of the sense organ. Can you tell the name of that organ? Yes, it is the ear. And now here the second important part, that is the pons, functions as relay center among different parts of brain. And the third, medulla oblongata, it is a center for regulating rate of breathing, rate of heartbeat, regulating of blood pressure, and the reflexes center for swallowing, vomiting, coughing, sneezing, salivation, peristalsis, etc. These are the some facts about the different parts of the brain. Just in up to class 10th syllabus, just it is a superficial knowledge about the brain. There is no structure details required, and that's why only the name and the function you require to maintain the component part of the brain. Understand? That's why I have given you notes in a very brief manner, and may also I have extended some parts, and hope you may now aware with all the parts which are included in your syllabus. And in this way we have completed the central nervous system. But one more important part, that is the spinal cord. Just 1 or 2, 3 lines, that is the spinal cord. Here is the definition of spinal cord. It is long 43 to 45 centimeter, soft, whitish and cylindrical continuation of medulla oblongata. It lies in the cavity of vertebral column. It is also covered by 3 meninges like those of the brain. What are those 3 meninges? Pia mater, dura mater, arachnoid. So these are the pia mater, dura mater, arachnoid. So these are the meninges which you have seen in the case of the brain. Those type of covering is also here in case of the spinal cord. From all the parts of the body, nerves meets at a particular place, that is the spinal cord, and that is why some reflex activities are mainly controlled, and the controlling center of those activities are the spinal cord. And it conducts sensory and motor impulses to and from brain. सेंसोरी और मोटर इम्पल्सेस को ब्रेन के ओर ले जाना और फिर उधर से ले आना, दैट इज द टू एंड फ्रॉम ब्रेन, ये काम भी ये करता है. तो दिस इज द a short definition and the 2 important functions of the spinal cord. So we have today completed the component of the nervous system. We have also seen the another way of the some autonomic, spontaneous and without thinking impulses and their responses which are carried out and which are controlled and by the spinal cord. Later on we have seen the component parts of the nervous system of human, in which we have seen the 3 component parts: central nervous system, peripheral and the autonomic. Later on we have studied the central nervous system in detail, and in detail means the detail of the structure, name of the different parts of the brain and their important functions. In this class we have, in this session we have completed all these things. In the next session, in the next class, we will learn how to our muscles response. What are the factors? You have studied it in class 9 that muscular tissue are known as the contractile tissue, as because there are presence of the two important types of protein. In the next session we will discuss everything about that.